The movie begins by showing one of the leaders of the bubble company named Mark Wydell. Mark is a scientist who creates a robot called Bebot. The purpose of this robot is to be a companion to humans, and Mark hopes the Bebot will become the perfect companion for humans.
Your best friend out of the box. Let's do this.
Some time passed, and all the kids seemed to have their own Bebot except for a boy named Barney Pudowski. Barney lives with his father and grandmother. One day when Barney went to school while on a trip, he met all kinds of Bebots. Apparently, he really wanted to have his own Bebot, but because it was expensive, he couldn't afford to buy it. Because he was too focused on paying attention to the Bebot, Barney was almost hit by a car. Luckily, the car driver managed to stop the car in time. But when the car stopped, there was a Bebot that fell and suffered some damage. Arriving at the school, it was seen that all the students had Bebots. Barney, who doesn't have his own Bebot, is considered strange by the other students. On his birthday, Barney intends to invite his school friends to celebrate a birthday party at his house. But all did not go smoothly because he had no friends at school. After school, Barney celebrates his birthday with his dad and grandma. He hopes to get a Bebot as a birthday gift this time. Not long after, there was a voice delivering the package in front of the house, and Barney was very happy because he thought that the package was a Bebot gift from his father. However, when it was opened, it turned out that it was not a Bebot, and apparently, he was being bullied by a school friend named Rich and his group. Seeing Barney disappointed, the father realized his son wanted a Bebot. That evening, Barney's dad and grandma went to the Bebot sales. When they got there, it turned out that they couldn't buy the Bebot right away because they had to pre-order it 3 months in advance. When Barney's father was about to go home, he saw a male employee moving a Bebot that was damaged by a fall when he almost hit Barney. His father then tried to talk to the employee and bought the Bebot. The next day, Barney was very happy to see a Bebot in his room when he woke up. He then tried to turn on the Bebot, but something strange was happening. It turned out that the Bebot was slightly damaged, so it did not have an internet connection and could not connect to the main Bebot network.
Here we go. Insert registered name.
After that, Barney tried to take his Bebot to school, but many problems occurred. Finally, Barney chose to leave the Bebot in his room. After school, Barney tried to see his Bebot, but when he entered his room, he was shocked because his room was very messy. He then looked for his Bebot and found it dancing in the kitchen with Grandma. Feeling something strange with his Bebot, Barney intends to go to the bubble company to exchange his Bebot. But he is forbidden by his grandmother because his dad has been working hard to get the Bebot. But Barney still insists on going there and trading his Bebot. On the way, Barney met Rich and his friends. Seeing Barney's strange Bebot made Rich and his friends mock him, but Barney's Bebot felt disapproved and beat Rich and his friends. After that incident, Barney began to like his Bebot and refused to exchange it with a new one.
Shut up! Why did you hit me? Because I don't like you, derp droid. I don't like you, derp droid. Ow! I'm gonna destroy you! I'm gonna destroy you. What's happening? I'm gonna destroy you. Seriously, back off! I'm gonna destroy you. Seriously! Ah! I'm gonna destroy you. Cut the live stream! Bro, just pulling my head off! 41 minutes. You can't pull his head off and we'll get in trouble! Okay, I cannot pull his head off.
Unfortunately, the police learned of the incident when Rich was beaten by Barney's Bebot. Shortly after, the police arrived and secured Barney's Bebot while taking them both to the bubble company. Arriving at the company, the police asked employees to destroy Barney's Bebot. Barney, who doesn't want his Bebot to be destroyed, secretly sneaks into the room to save his Bebot and tries to escape from the company. Unfortunately, his action was caught and a chase ensued until Barney was finally caught and forced to hand over his Bebot. After that, Barney went home. It turned out that he had exchanged his Bebot with the company's Bebot. In the car, Barney named his Bebot Ronbean Skatsko. Arriving at the house, Barney began to teach Ron many things, starting from the location of his school to the things that Barney likes. After passing some time and getting closer, they both went to a hill to see the sunset. At that place, Barney accidentally pushed Ron to fall right behind the house of his classmate named Savannah. At the time of the incident, Savannah was live streaming with her Bebot and accidentally broadcast the incident online. The next day, Savannah's trending live video was seen by an employee and one of the leaders of Bubble Company, Andrew Morris. Andrew then knows that the problematic Bebot has not been destroyed. They immediately took action to arrest Ron. Before leaving for school, Barney left Ron in his chicken coop, but Ron instead went out and tried to find a friend for Barney. After that, Ron followed Barney to school. As Barney exits, Ron shows the townspeople he has gathered. Ron asked if the people he gathered were willing to be Barney's friends. It turned out that Ron was very concerned and worried because Barney had absolutely no friends. Unfortunately, Ron's good intentions trouble Barney because he brings strangers into the school. Barney was summoned to the principal's office while Rich, who saw Ron's actions, began to admire him. Rich asked Ron how he could do that without orders from the owner, and Ron replied that if he didn't have a security system. Then Rich told his Bebot to copy all of Ron's systems. On the other hand, Barney, who was in the principal's office, was already waiting for Bubble Company employees who wanted to take his Bebot. Soon, there was a commotion on the school grounds because the Bebots on the school grounds started copying Ron's system. As more Bebots copy Ron's system, things get even more chaotic and out of control when Rich's Bebots take other people's Bebots and merge with them and transform into giant robots. Then Rich's Bebot catches Savannah's live streaming and makes her feel very embarrassed. Seeing the chaos made Bubble Company stop all Bebots by force. Then the principal decided to expel Barney from school. On the way home, Barney was so angry with Ron that he kicked him out. When Barney got home, he saw many Bubble Company employees at his house. He immediately hid in the chicken coop and met Ron again. Barney apologized to Ron for being rude. When Ron looked at the blackboard, he realized he really cared about Barney and wanted him to have many friends. Ron then decided to no longer teach Barney how to make friends, but to learn together to be best friends. While they were chatting, their father's voice was heard entering the cage. Barney and Ron rushed out of the cage and hid in Savannah's yard. There it is seen that Savannah is depressed due to the previous incident at school. Barney tries to comfort Savannah and asks her not to reveal his whereabouts to anyone. After escaping, Barney and Ron rushed off into the woods. Savannah tries to stop Barney, but he insists on hiding there. The two then went into the forest to play and sleep there. On the other hand, Barney's dad and grandma tried to find Barney's whereabouts by going to every house and also asking Savannah, but she didn't tell them where Barney was because she had already promised. The next day, Savannah meets Rich, and they begin to realize that their actions got Barney in trouble. On the other hand, Barney and Ron had a little trouble in the forest. From bad weather, the forest atmosphere became hostile to Ron's energy running out. On their second night in the woods, Ron runs out of energy and goes into sleep mode. Barney then came out of hiding and tried to find a power source to recharge Ron's energy. But when Barney was trying to find a way, he saw a red light. Barney's reflex tried to dodge and escape until they finally fell into the hole.
No, come on!
It turned out that the source of the red light was the Bebots controlled by the Bubble Company to catch them. Andrew, who saw Barney fall, immediately hid that fact from the other employees. Turns out Andrew was planning to let Barney stay in the hole. Then he ordered all the Bebots to return. Barney struggled to get up as soon as he saw the Bebots starting to return. Unfortunately, Barney's asthma suddenly relapsed, and with the last of his energy, Ron tried to save Barney by bringing him home. Barney looks sad and asks Ron to stop, but Ron continues his journey. After escaping the forest, Savannah and the other students immediately approached Barney to help him. Not long after that, Dad, Grandma, and Mark, one of the leaders of the Bubbles Company, came to save Barney. After that incident, the whole world considered Ron a hero and made the Bubble Company abandon its intention to destroy him. Barney, who was starting to wake up, began to tell stories. Before long, Mark said he had fixed Ron by updating his system. But there was something different about Ron. Barney immediately knows that the B-Bot is not Ron and asks Mark to return Ron's old system. However, Mark can't fix Ron because the Bubble Company system is locked, which makes him unable to enter. It turns out that Andrew has taken over everything, and now Mark is a regular at Bubble Company. After that, Mark said there was only one way to restore Ron's system, by retrieving Ron's files stored in the company's cloud. Barney, helped by his dad, grandma, and Mark, starts trying to enter the Bubble Company. Barney's father turns off the electricity while his grandmother, disguised as a janitor, is in charge of getting into the company safely. After getting inside, Mark and Barney immediately got out of Grandma's cart and split up. Mark went to his room so he could guide Barney into the server center smoothly. After Barney managed to get in, he saw a lot of B-Bot files. Barney is confused about finding Ron's file system. He continued to walk until he arrived in front of a monitor. On the other hand, Andrew, who knew Barney had infiltrated the company's cloud, ordered his employees to turn off the system. Meanwhile, Barney's dad and Granny managed to get into the server control room. There Andrew told them that he really didn't like children. On the other hand, Barney, who was stuck in the server room, tried to close his eyes, hoping that Ron could help him. Sure enough, it wasn't long before a light flashed from Ron's file system. Barney rushes to the light source and finds Ron's file system. On the other hand, Mark tried to revive the server system. After that, Barney tried to restore Ron's system, and he was successful. Before returning, Ron showed the condition of his friends, who looked lonely from their B-Bot screen. Barney then realized that he wasn't the only one who had felt lonely all this time. Seeing that, Barney had the idea to share Ron's system code so that all B-Bots around the world could become best friends like himself and Ron. Barney then enlists Mark's help copying Ron's system code to share with all the B-Bots. But when they try to copy Ron's code, it turns out that Ron's code is broken, and this can make Ron lose for good. Mark, who realized this, immediately canceled the system. On the other hand, Barney also doesn't want Ron to disappear and still refuses even though Ron has tried to give him understanding by saying that now his friends really need true friends like himself and Barney. Ron then says if not now, there will be no chance again in the future. Hearing this, Barney finally lets Ron go. Before that, Barney hugged Ron one last time before Ron actually went into the worldwide B-Bot network. After Ron's system code was copied and accepted by B-Bots worldwide, B-Bots have now become good friends for everyone.
Stay friends.
The best one. Go, Ron.
Adios, Axel.
I've never done shit wrong this statue.
Long story short, now Mark takes over and occupies the main position in Bubble Company. 3 months have passed, and everything is back to normal. It's just that the days are not like before. Now Barney has many friends, namely Savannah, Rich, Noah, and Alpha. Not only that, but all B-Bots worldwide also become his friends, and he even gets the nickname as King of B-Bots. Now Rich, Noah, Savannah, and Alpha have understood what it means to be a friend after knowing and seeing Barney's sincerity and courage. At the end of the story, the 5 friends sit together while eating chicken feet made by Barney's grandmother.